So friends, this question from Quiz2 ST 2024 December 1st QDB3 question paper. So how many test cases are required to achieve the predicate coverage? To achieve the predicate coverage over a predicate with n clauses. Over a predicate with n clauses. So what is the predicate? A, or B and C. For example, we consider this is a predicate. So predicate is represented in terms of clauses. What are the clauses? So A, B, C are the clauses. A, B, C are the clauses. So here and, or and, conjunction and disjunction. These are called logical operators. Logical operators. So for this predicate coverage, generally predicate represented with clauses, right? That is variables A, B, C. Predicate must be evaluated to true or false at least once. At least once. Coverage, for example, we consider the predicate coverage is PC. So predicate coverage PC, that is we want to test, right? Test requirements to cover the predicate. So how many test requirements we want? 2. Why 2? So the predicate is true and false at least once. So it is the entire expression, logical expression is evaluated to true or false. That is 2, right? 2 cases, true or false. So for this we require 2 test cases. Completely it depends upon the clauses A, B, C. It does not matter how many number of clauses. If there are how many number of clauses, it doesn't matter. Finally the result will be the entire this logical expression must be true or false, right? It does not become both, only at least once true or at least once false. So that is, so the predicate P equals to true, 1 test case, and predicate P equal to false, 2 test cases. For this question the answer is 2 test cases. So next, this is the predicate coverage. For predicate coverage, for CC, clause coverage. For clause coverage, so what is the clause? CC means clause coverage. Clause coverage. For the how many, for this, in this example predicate, how many clauses? A, B, C, right? 3. So it depends upon the clause coverage. For example, A is true and A is false, and B is true and B is false. Is it possible, right? C is true and C is false also. So that is for each clause, that is 2 is possible, true or false. For 2 true, one test case is true, another test case is false for each variable. Here how many variables? N equals to 3 clauses, right? Not variables, sorry, these are clauses. 3, how many clauses here? 3 clauses, that is N equals to 3. That is for clause coverage, it is less than or equals to 2n. Clause coverage, the test cases are less than or equals to 2n. So here what is this n? N is the number of clauses. COC, combitorial coverage, that is multiple clause coverage, MCC, which is also called as MCC, multiple clause coverage or combitorial coverage. For this the number of test cases are 2 power n. You have to remember these 3 formulas, these are important. So multiple clause coverage, which is also called as multiple clause coverage. So the every assignment of clause values. So the test requirements or test cases are every assignment of clause values. So for example, A or B. So there are two clauses, right? A and B. So for every assignment of clause values, that is clause values, what are the clauses here? A and B. So how these values? A is true, these are boolean, right? A is true, B is true. A is true, B is false. A is false, B is true. A is false, B also false. That is according to the formula 2 power n, right? 2 power n. What is the n? N represents the number of clauses. N represents the number of clauses. So here two clauses, A and B. That is 2 power 2, that is 4. That is 4. So for this question, the every assignment of the clause values. Okay, every assignment of clause values. According to strength, predicate coverage is weak. This one, COC, multiple clause coverage is strong. Medium. So medium. So what is the difference between COC and CC? Clause coverage. So clause coverage here, in the clause coverage here, for individual test cases. Individual. Thank you for watching. If you like my videos, please like and subscribe my channel, and thank you for watching.